So the devising company I decided to do my presentation on is Au Ments Dansa Teatre. So I'll go ahead and share some background information with you. So Au Ments' website is actually entirely in Spanish, but they did have an option where it could be translated to English. Some of their translations were a little bit off, so I did have to edit some of what they said. But this is what they described themselves as. The mind through the air. The name Au Ments is a statement of principles that is based on experimentation and synthesis of different languages. Since the company formed in 1996, Tomeo Gomila and Andrea Cruz have tried to surprise after surprise the viewer, cluttering the everyday world and transforming it into poetic symbols. Backstage.com describes them as a Spanish company that uses dance, art, and object theater to produce devised works that keep audiences guessing. Touring productions combine styles and modes to challenge physical and visual expectations. Their current piece, Mala Sombra, creates a fantastical cartoon world through a unique blend of expressive dance theater, video, rock music, and shadow play. So if you couldn't already tell where Au Ments Dansa Teatre is from based off of their name and some of the names that you've already heard, they are from Mallorca, Spain. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, but you can definitely tell that they are heavily influenced by their culture and cultures around them. By now you know that the founders are Tomeo Gomila and Andrea Cruz, and they work closely together with a group of collaborators that they have a complete list of on their website. Tomeo Gomila actually has a YouTube channel where he uploads videos of their projects, certain 1-minute videos of their projects. And in the videos you can really see that the designers come together at the end as a whole, but they work individually and pay very close attention to detail. And I think that's part of the success that they have. But on their website, they have a complete list of each collaborator, and I will now list them for you. On the team, we have Manu Martinez, lighting design, Kiko Baranengoa, musical creation, Carolina Cruz, costume design, Roberto Rodriguez, video editing. Alongside them, there's Rafael Joan, painter, Max, the illustrator, which is what I swear they had him listed as, and finally Veru Iche, photographer. One of the things I found very interesting to see was where the magic happened, and they called this place, their studio, Au Ments Experimentarium. And it's basically an open space that has one side for storage of props and set things, stuff like that. And it's surrounded by open areas of complete nature. It's really, really beautiful. Their website describes it as a space that is a place for research and work. Here the company trains as well as implements projects and stage designs. It is a room with natural light, has laminated flooring and its own sound system, a toilet and shower, storage area, and workshop for building props and sets. The studio is located in the countryside at the heart of Mallorca. You can lease it and use it to realize your own creations. Au Ments has 2 shows that they are going to be taking on tour. The first is Mala Sombra, and as you can see, they are touring up until February. So they have performances in September, October, December, and February. If you take a closer look, you get to see all of the awesome places that they get to visit while they are on tour. And the way they do this is that they participate in festivals, and they are participating in one in Spain, Norway, and Italy. The second show they are taking on tour with them is called Tales of the Body. They'll be touring this show from the 21st of November to the 8th of December, and they get to perform this show in Chile. It's kind of hard to explain what Au Ments does with their theater. What I did is I looked up videos on certain performances that they did, and it's a spectacle. They do object theater with physical theater. It's all in one to just create this spectacle, this experience for the audience. They use all types of shadows, and with mala sombra in particular, mala sombra means bad shadow. And like I said, they combine all of the elements into one, and it truly is an experience. They use different types of depths with the shadows, and they just do a lot of play on shadows. And they also use backdrops that are cartoony. It's everything in one, and it's really something that I have not seen before. And here are a few images that I found on the play and that I also saw in the videos of the performance. As you can see, the main character seems to be a young girl who is antagonized by this man into making decisions. And there's also an actress that plays her shadow, and they do a lot of play off of each other. And you can see the cartoony type backgrounds, and it just combines the backgrounds, the objects in the play, and music to create this huge spectacle. The next show is Tales of the Body, which is the second show that Au Ments is taking on tour with them. And in the video clips I saw of this one, it featured this woman performing jarring movements, jarring physical movements, and she used this object on stage with her. And I actually saw a clip where she blew at the light above her and all the lights went out. So I thought that was a really interesting use of the space around her and really shows what Au Ments is all about. This last show I wanted to talk about because Au Ments actually included a description of the show on their website, which they didn't do for very many of them, and it's called La Dulce Ingeborg. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it, but it describes it as puppets who come together to relive the history of Sweet Ingeborg's cruel murder that has remained unsolved. The creative Ingeborg Schaefer has been found dead, surrounded by her dolls, and also with their heads shattered by a typewriter. A true story based on the case Crime Puppets, with treatment between nightmare and performance. Au Ments delves into this story inspired by the language of the police documentary, on a background sound that alternates classic and experimental. So you can really kind of get a feel for what Au Ments is all about. It's really the stuff of nightmares, but they're not very apologetic about it. Au Ments also has a list of awards that they've gotten over the past few years on their website, which I think is important to include because it shows that not only that they've made a name for themselves, but they've also been recognized for it. And as you can see, it's not just dance, it's also lighting and their visual qualities as well. Lastly, for my presentation, I wanted to close with kind of explaining what drew me to Au Ments in the first place and why I chose Au Ments. And the thing that really drew my attention was that they were from Spain, and I've always been very interested in learning about other people's cultures and what they can do with their culture and their art. And I really do think that their culture came through in their productions. You could really see that they were influenced by their Spanish culture in their art. And I'd also noticed that they were influenced by Japanese culture in the puppets. They had a whole show that incorporated puppets, and you could just really tell that that theme of puppetry was kind of in a lot of their shows. They do that a lot with their costuming. In the show Mala Sombra, which I talked about, featuring the young girl, the shadow actress actually stood behind her and kind of maneuvered her around and as a puppet would. Another thing I noticed that Au Ments really does is they put a lot of emphasis on the body and kind of what the body can do, and they push their bodies to the limits to see what they're capable of. They really liked to show a lot of nude bodies of men and women, and there was this one piece that was really breathtaking that featured actors dressed up in newspaper clippings, and they were all in newspaper clippings, and they would move around fluidly, and it didn't even look like there were humans in them. It just looked like big balls of paper, and it was truly beautiful. And in that case, the newspaper would eventually unravel to show human bodies that were just completely nude, and it was really beautiful. And I really urge you that if you get the chance to see it. I couldn't even begin to pronounce the name of it. It's Quan says something, but it's amazing. And the use of costumes and the lack of costumes and the balance of that, I thought it was really beautiful. So it really has been a privilege to be able to present Au Ments Dansa Teatre to you.